Oh, I think she played really well in Japan. I think the course was beautifully set up. I think it wasn't too long, and I think the greens were absolutely perfect. So it was a perfect ground for Aditi to do her best, and she proved it. And with amazing putting during those 4 days, she putted out of her skin. I feel, but that's always been her strength. And of course, we all know if she could hit the ball a little bit longer, she would have definitely won that medal. That probably went against her, but the kind of determination that she showed, and to be able to kind of hold her own against the best in the world. We had so many top players out there, and for her to finish in fourth place was, I think, really really creditable. So I think it's been great. It was a great week for her, and also a great week for Indian golf. Yeah, so I started working with Aditi, I think when she was 7 or 8 years old, and it was really good fun. I think working with a player who's so focused at the age of 8, 9 years old is always a lot of fun. I didn't do anything special, if you ask me. I just kind of worked on mentoring her and getting her to focus a lot on the important aspects of the game, which is more the short game. She was very, very meticulous in how she trained. She had this habit of taking notes of whatever I said. And I never had to repeat anything to her. She was very attentive, really loved the sport and was really determined to get better and better each year. So made things very easy working with her. It was a lot of fun working with her. So yeah, I think it's a good memory I had. I think, as a coach, I think, at that time when she was around 12, 13, she really put me on the map of golf coaching in India as well. So I have a I have to be thankful to her for that as well. I think, yeah, short game is very essential when you want to compete at the highest level. And right from the time she was a young player, our focus was the short game because we knew that was where it is going to be. But when she was around 9 years old, I remember she was very poor at putting. She used to three putt almost every green, and so at that point, I think her parents also were quite worried. So I kind of pulled her aside and I basically told her that she would not be asking the caddy's help for putting anymore. I wanted to make her an independent putter, get her to read her own lines, and within I think a year and a half after that, I couldn't even beat her in a putting competition. So she got really really good with that, and she began to develop a love for the short game as well. I remember working with her in the bunkers, and she used to have a big problem with the bunker shots. And I just worked, really, really hard on technique and getting her to do exercises and drills which built confidence. And like I said, by the time she was 12, short game was at another level. I think that's what's also really holding her in good stead right now. Even while she hits the ball fairly short, she's still able to compete at the highest level. Yeah, absolutely. I think the younger girls today, I'm sure they're seeing Delhi Quadas of the world hitting the ball 270 off the tee. When Aditi was around 12 years old, that's when I realized that she wasn't really the strongest of the competitors out there. So I actually kind of spoke to the parents and the team, and I asked her if she could take 1 year off golf. And of course they refused because I could understand that she was really on the up and up in a golf game. She was really, really playing well, and I was just not able to get them convinced that this was important because we always spoke about the big picture and the long-term plan, which would be the LPGA Tour. And I did find a good trainer for her. At that point, I did meet a good trainer who was from France, who started working with her at that point. But to get to that level, you really need to focus more on the fitness aspect and golf for maybe a period of a year or so. And I've seen players do that. But I feel if she could have done that a little bit differently and maybe been more open to that, she would be hitting the ball at least about 260, 270 because she does have the height if you look at it. But her priorities were different at that point, and I can understand it. She competed a lot. Probably that's also what got her to the LPGA tour, if you ask me. And I'm really hoping that she really take some time off to think about this and how she could work with a good sports science team to get her to the level that she can. I don't know if she can ever hit the ball 270, but I'm sure she can add about 20, 30 yards to her drives. Yeah, Aditi is, from the time I've known her, I think she's been very good mentally. I think she's never been afraid to fail. But I think a lot of that came from her childhood and growing up. I know that they had a lot of struggles when she was younger. I think, a big part of that struggle as well because, we had to figure out how we could make things happen for her when there was very little support in those days for golfers. So one thing about Aditi is that because I think she's faced a lot of adversity in her life, it just made her very, very mentally strong. And today I know that she's not afraid to be out there with the best players in the world. And she's really not afraid to fail as well. So, when she's putting on the greens or chipping, when she's walking, you can see the body language is really, really good. And I think that's something for a lot of the young girls to take away from her is that, they just focus on the discipline side of it, focus on good body language and learn to deal with adversity, learn to fail a little bit. I think that's something that unfortunately we're not teaching our kids enough. But if you learn to fail enough and you're okay with failure, then I'm pretty sure everybody will succeed. So Aditi has that innate quality, and that's going to see her through her entire golfing career. And I think she's going to become one of the golfing greats in the world. Well, yes, it has impacted golf in a big way. Like I said, people who didn't know golf today know what golf is. People who didn't know Aditi Ashok know Aditi Ashok today. She's become very popular. I'm sure she is going to benefit from this a lot, with people recognizing who she is and probably providing the support that's required. But for me, I think what I would like to see is really more corporates and the sports ministry coming forward to fund players and academies that can actually then produce more Aditya Ashoks and Anirban Lahiris and Shubhankar Sharmas. I know golf is looked at as an expensive sport, but I think if the government stepped in and corporate stepped in, we could bring in a lot more talent who probably would not be able to afford training or competing, and get them to have access to great coaching and access to academies and access to equipment, which then widens the base. And if we can then have 25,000 junior golfers all over the country, you're sure to produce good players or players that can hold their own on an international stage at a much higher rate. So my hope is that yes, some people do come forward and probably support the sport with more money. I'm not sure if golf is even a sport that can be supported by CSR funds, but maybe the government could change their policies there. And yeah, I'm just hoping that something like that happens. For me, it's all about having the resources to pull in talent and train them, and that's something that we haven't had in the last decade. Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems we have today is that kids find it very difficult to kind of blend education and sport because education usually always gets in the way. And what we did is we solved that problem. So we have a fully integrated education system here. It's done by a wonderful company called ProZ, who handles education with us. And the kids are not under any pressure, to worry about missing school for tournaments. They do school only about 3 hours a day. They do 5 hours of golf and they do about 2 hours of fitness. And they're not spending uh, 3 hours a day traveling to school and back, then traveling to the gym and back, and traveling to the golf course. Everything is on one campus. So the idea of a fully integrated system is that children can shorten the learning curve. So a kid who would normally take maybe 7 years to become a really good golfer can now just do that in 4 years, right? And that's most important because you need to achieve peak performance earlier to be able to compete at that level. And the other thing was, because I'm a boarding school boy myself, I think I really believe in discipline. and an environment of excellence. And that's what we've been able to create here. And for me, I know that when we bring in discipline to a golfer's life or any sportsman's life for that matter, I think results will automatically start to show. So a simple thing like, we don't allow cell phones on our campus. While the kids may not understand it, it's very, very simple. They are sleeping better, they're focusing better, and there are less distractions. So I'm hoping in the future also more academies do spring up like this. No doubt it's not easy. We are still at a struggle. It's expensive for us to run. And like I said, I'm hoping for some support in the future where we can, pull in talent and not have to worry about the money to fund them. So yeah, that's pretty much what I thought. And in the last 2 3 years, we've had a national champion come out of our academy. We've had an Asian Tour champion come out of the system. So I'm pretty sure that we have proof of concept, and I think I'm just hoping that we see more of these coming up in the future.